Warning, the following you are about to hear mentions death of children, suicide, and other things of that nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, America, the millennial.
And I'm Angie, the Gen Z.
Thank you for joining us this Wednesday on our podcast about two sisters born in different generations sharing stories to bond and understand each other a little better. I feel like after hearing some of these creepypastas, Angie, I sort of understand why you are the way you were as a child and why you are the way you are now.
I think I was pretty normal as a child, actually. Are you saying I'm a little,
You were different, is what I'm saying, compared
Really?
to Julie and I and Turo. Yeah, you were different.
Like, mannerism?
Like, you were a little more alternative than we were.
Oh, yeah, I know. I could tell.
Yeah, and then we weren't.
Like just
that.
a little...
Yeah.
I'm the main character.
No, you just weren't oppressed like we were. Our
Okay,
parents.
okay.
I'm the main character.
Anyways.
Let me see what else I have. Oh, yes, before we get started. I wanted to bring something up that I saw on TikTok. I don't know if you saw this.
What?
But they're saying that there's some, like, another Mandela effect that happened. But this time it's about, like, human anatomy. So, like, people are saying that we didn't used to have, like, an orbital bone. Like, now there's a bone inside here.
And
Like,
where?
it's, like, behind our eyes.
I never knew that.
And I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if that's true or not. Because, so I have an anatomy book here because I had anatomy.
Yeah.
And I checked on that book, and that book was made, I don't know, like 2012, 2014.
Not that long ago. Like,
Um,
almost 10 years ago, maybe? If it's
Maybe.
2014?
And I see that that the skull does have an orbital bone. It has a bone in, like, right there behind your eyeball, and there's just, like, one whole opening that allows your, like, nerve to go back and connect to your brain. So, for that, I was thinking, I think that's false. I think that that's always been there.
It's just that nobody has noticed it until...
Maybe, yeah, no one has noticed it until now.
And-
Because, you know when we always see the drawings of skulls?
Yeah.
You
there's,
always
like,
see, like, just black here?
Yeah.
Like, where the eyes are supposed to
This is
be?
hollow.
Yeah, so people assume that there's no bone behind there.
Mm.
But one thing that really tripped me out about this
Mhm.
is that all of a sudden, like, if you check on Google, and people were showing that, you know, the kidneys are supposed to be behind here in your back,
Yeah.
lower back.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying now it's over here behind, like, up here,
Like upper back area?
upper back area, and they're saying that it's always been like that. I'm like, no, I know for a fact that the kidneys were in the the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's really, like, freaking me out, because, hold on, let me
That's the only
find
thing
it.
I know. I know the kidneys are like lower back area.
Look, tell me why.
What did Google say?
Tell me why these images. I put kidney placement. Tell me why it's up on top over here, kind of like behind, like, you see that? Like, it's up, like, in the rib-ish area,
Yeah.
right? And it used to be behind here in the bottom, like,
I don't
in your lower
like
back.
that.
Yeah, so that's why I don't know, that kind of had me, like, messed up all this week or all last week, because yeah, I just need somebody to tell me where the kidneys are located, because I'm pretty sure I remember for a fact they're in your lower back, not upper back.
Me too. Especially like in like diagrams that they would show in school or something like that. I remember them always being at the bottom.
Yeah, so I need somebody to confirm that for me. Someone can message or let me know when you see me in person.
They didn't even know your face.
They will.
Well, some families.
Yeah, they'll come and be like, oh yeah, it's this. Yeah, I mean, and other than that, we can now go back to the creepypasta. I'm excited to see what Angie has in store for us. The last one was good, and I'm expecting great things from this one.
I'm actually pretty excited about this one. This is one of my favorite creepypastas. So, I'm not gonna give Erica a choice this time, but I will, like, next episode. But today's creepypasta is a lost episode. Have you ever heard of that? A lost episode?
Lost episode? I think I've only heard that, like lost episodes on, like, of a show or something, where, like, they record and everything, but they don't release it.
So this kind of is it, but, like, it's with the cartoons.
I was gonna say, like, SpongeBob. I've heard that SpongeBob has lost episodes,
That's the
right?
one I'm gonna talk about today.
A SpongeBob lost episode?
Yeah, so it's called Squidward's Suicide.
Squidward?
Yeah.
I relate to Squidward so much now. Stop it, because I relate to Squidward now. When I was younger, I used to be like, Squidward is lame and SpongeBob is cool. And now that I'm old, I'm like, Squidward, I understand
I
you.
know, huh?
All you want to do is just stay in your house. sitting down, no one bugging you, no one doing anything, and all of a sudden SpongeBob comes along, gets in your, like, sometimes he really goes into his house. I'm like, man,
It's like imagine that with your neighbor.
I would have been fighting.
I felt like Squidward. I feel like if this was like a real life situation, I would have been in jail. I would have assaulted. I would have assaulted my neighbor.
You would have assaulted SpongeBob and Patrick. Oh, yeah, especially Patrick.
Especially well,
something about Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick. But yeah. About him. Anyways.
Okay.
Yes, we are gonna talk about lost episodes, and lost episodes is like a subgenre in the creepypasta community. Cause you know what a subgenre is, right? It's like
a little portion of it.
Yeah, it's like a genre within a genre, like a little part of it. Yeah, okay. So you're right, a little portion. Like I said, they fall under a smaller genre within the creepypasta genre. Typically, lost episodes are written as like anecdotes.
Okay.
And they're usually written by like the author, not the author, like the person that like was working on the episode. Either they were like barely began to work in the studio where the episode was released, or like they were working on it, but they weren't really like that much of a part of it, or like they were right there when they saw everything play out, but they just didn't release it.
It's like their little fan fiction, I guess.
Yeah, basically. So like those are like topics are always mentioned when it comes to like stories of lost episodes.
Okay.
So yeah, not mostly, all of the lost episodes creepypasta genres are of cartoons. The most famous one being SpongeBob, and then there's also one of The Simpsons. But we'll get to that later on. Yeah.
The Simpsons so weird because I've seen that they show like a scene, and then a few years later it comes true.
Oh, I know. That? Yeah, it's like a conspiracy, but it's kind of true. I feel like it's true.
Like a.
Well, they predict the future.
Yeah, they predict the future. They predicted it right. Like there was one where it showed that Donald Trump was going to be president, and then he became president.
Yeah.
And they've just shown like different
scenarios. They depicted like some deaths for celebrities, and they actually came true. Like a few.
Yeah. Did they also say that COVID was going to happen or no?
I think not COVID exactly, but maybe like an outbreak.
Like an outbreak, yeah. Pandemic.
But like, have you heard of like every time have you heard of like the 1920s when there's like the Spanish flu, and then like every like year that has a 20 in it, a new pandemic breaks out.
Oh, I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, like I forgot what 1820s. I don't know what's in the 1820s.
Maybe the plague or something.
Maybe I'm not really that educated. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I graduated, but...
You graduated?
But...
I'm not that educated because I did not study history.
I mean, I find history interesting. It's just that didn't really, like, stick with me.
Okay.
So, but yeah, every, like 20, like 1820, let's say, like, the bubonic plague, because we're probably... And then 1920s was the Spanish flu. And then 2020 was the COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
Every 20, there's some sort of like big like pandemic.
The Spanish flu. I'm still waiting for Carlisle to turn me into a vampire.
Oh my god!
Save me from COVID. Cause why did he save Edward when he? Why not me?
I like doing research on that too. Supposedly he. Oh, I don't know. I know this is off topic, but from what I heard in the books, he was like friends with his parents. No. With Edward's actual parents.
So. Maybe.
And Edward's parents were all like, "Oh my god, please save him."
Like, take care of my child, and he's like,
because they were also dying of the flu, no?
He's like, I got you, fam. Yeah, he lost his parents to the flu, so he's like, I got you, fam. And then he bit Edward.
Edward. I hate Edward. Team Carlisle.
Team Carlisle.
Team Jasper.
Team Carlisle. Team Charlie.
No, Jasper's a racist.
Jasper is a Confederate soldier.
Scars.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that, Angie.
We like Carlisle and Charlie. We like the DILFs in this household. Okay. But anyways, back to what the topic is for this episode, lost episodes. So, usually lost episodes are always described as crude or low budget in appearance and are very disturbing in nature, deviating heavily in tone and subjects from the original storyline.
Didn't you also tell me one time that Ed and Eddie had a lost
and that's another one
that we're talking about today?
No, not another one that we're talking about today.
Dang.
We're talking about only one lost story.
Okay.
We can cut it up into like a little series.
Okay, all right. We can
But
go
yes,
into.
Ed and Eddie, SpongeBob, The Simpsons. You know, even video games have creepypastas.
I would probably expect that from like the horror games. So like
No,
maybe
not
like
the horror
Resident
games.
Evil.
No.
What? Call of
There-
Duty?
No, there's some creepypastas that involve like Pokemon.
Pokemon.
You know the Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that creepypasta? Have you heard of
No.
it? Supposedly, oh well, there's that one of that. That's like one of the well-known creepypastas from like Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
And yeah,
How did I not know any of this?
you're old.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding. When you were a teenager, this was well, yeah, you were like a teen when all this like became like big on the internet. But like you said in like the last few episodes, you didn't have time to look at the internet like that because you were studying, or you just didn't look at the internet.
We were also pretty poor. We didn't really have
Yeah.
internet. You know what? It would take us, and it would buffer too. So like we would have to pause it and wait for like 20 minutes just for like 5 minutes play continuously without stopping, just for it to stop again.
I
So like
remember
that's
that.
how bad it was. Like
I remember that.
I remember Julie and I used to pause movies for like 2 hours and go and like do other things like clean or go eat or something.
I remember.
And then by the time we would come back, we would have like enough where it'll like play continuously. But that was like what, like 2 hours? Like you'd have to like set up your computer and everything and pause it. So that's probably why, because we didn't really like have a good
On your
internet
little
connection.
laptops.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember teenage you and Julie in the bedroom that we shared.
Yeah.
And I was trying to watch the movie too, and like it would just continuously like buffer, and then you guys would be like, "It's time to pause," and then you guys would like scatter out, and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna just sit here."
break.
Yeah,
What
I
a
would
break.
just sit there. I was just waiting, or like I think I would just go and do my own things too, like play with my little toys or something.
And then you'd come back after.
Yeah, when
be
you guys,
like-
when I saw you guys assemble
You'd be
again.
like, huddle.
Yeah, little group meeting. I was in the middle, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So see, it sucked. The internet sucked back then.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't good connection, or it wasn't as fast. And now it's like what we have, like 5G, 6G. Like I know that our Wi-Fi really sucked for a while until I got this one. I don't even know.
I remember. Supposedly it's like I don't know. Nano would tell us.
I don't even know.
Our
Yeah.
little brother would come in to your room, right? And he'd be like, "Erica, the Wi-Fi sucks. My friends say it sucks," cause like he'd be on like call with them, and like they'd be like, "Oh my god, you're like cutting out so bad."
Yeah, cause I guess like the Wi-Fi wouldn't reach so
Mhm.
far.
Mhm.
But then after I got this one, like I don't even know what kind it is, but it's good now. Like he gets good connection now. I think our parents get good connection in our room too.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah. So we made good progress
I know. I'm so proud of you
with
guys.
the internet.
It was mostly you guys.
Oh no, I'm talking about like the internet, like
Oh, I thought you
technology
meant, like,
nowadays.
You guys like upgrading, like
Oh.
Well, anyways, back to the
back to the story, Angie.
Yeah, but like I said, they're always described as crude and low budget. And like I said, the story or the subject of that episode like deviates from like the original plot line, and like it usually includes themes such as death, murder, torture, suicide, depression, and other macabre topics.
Okay.
So if the show is animated or made with like puppets, like a cartoon, or just like a like Sesame Street or something, or
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought.
the Muppets?
I thought Elmo.
yeah, they're also described as either being very low quality or like hyper realistic to the point where it's kind of scary.
Okay.
I know, but yeah, onto the story. I'm gonna be reading it as like the person, or the narrator, or what's it called, the person that wrote it out, in their point of view. So I'm gonna say it in first person point of view, like, as if I'm the person,
Okay.
just in case. Sorry.
Okay.
A little special.
Yeah, you
Okay.
are.
Okay. Anyways, the story is called Squidward's Suicide, like I said before. I was an intern at Nickelodeon Studios for a year in 2005 for my degree in animation. It wasn't paid, of course, since most internships weren't, but it did have some perks beyond education. To adults, it might not have seemed like a big one, but most kids of the time would have gone crazy over it.
Heck yeah.
Back then,
and
Nickelodeon was so good back then.
Oh yeah, Nickelodeon was. I remember their slime time. They
Oh,
would
yeah.
throw so much slime. And then the last time I saw one of their shows, it was a long time ago. They were saying, "Oh my god, it's gonna be the most slime ever." They threw slime on this one celebrity. I forgot It was like the smallest amount I've ever seen. I was like, this is gross. Like, the heck? Like, this is embarrassing.
Do you remember?
Low budget.
Do you do you remember when they would like make the people dance on like a tile, and like a pattern, and like if they didn't get it correctly, they would get slimed.
I think so, yeah. That was like one of... That was like a newer show.
Was it newer?
Compared to
Oh,
me,
for
me, that was like one of the newer shows.
Okay.
And then after that, I had stopped watching it altogether because I was like, this is garbage.
I feel like after that, it sucked.
Yeah, I didn't. Either that or we just grew up and we weren't kids anymore and we just didn't see the appeal anymore. Like, we would have if we were kids.
I mean, I guess I still watch cartoons.
Maybe I'm a bitter adult.
As in reaching my adult years.
You still watch cartoons?
I do.
Like more like the adult cartoons, not like Rick and Morty.
Like, no, not Rick and... I watch, well, kinda. It's like young, like teens? Late, like younger teens. Probably, it's like regular show, Adventure Time.
Yeah.
I do watch Rick and Morty, but that's like for like the older audiences. Because that is pretty like crude for younger kids.
Oh yeah, that is. I like it.
That is. I like it too.
It's funny.
It's pretty funny.
Sorry.
But anyways... Since I worked directly with the editors and animators, I got to view the new episode days before they aired. I'll get right to it without giving too many unnecessary details. They had very recently made the SpongeBob movie, and the entire staff was somewhat sapped of creativity, so it took them longer to start up the season. But the delay lasted longer for more upsetting reasons. There was a problem with the series for premiere that set everyone and everything back for several months. Me and 2 other interns were in the editing room along with the lead animator and sound editors for the final cut. We received the copy that was supposed to be Fear of the Krabby Patty and gathered around to the screen to watch it. Now, given that it isn't final yet, animators often put like mock title cards, sort of like an inside joke, with phony, oftentimes lewd titles, such as How Sex Doesn't Work, instead of Rockabye by Valve. When SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop.
Oh, wow. When
yeah,
they were parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I get it now. When writing this down, I didn't really get it.
Wait, what? Say it again?
Writing this down, I didn't really
No,
get
like,
it.
what? Like, I don't get it either. What? Say it all again.
How Sex Doesn't Work, instead of Rockabye by Valve. You know that episode where they adopt a baby scallop?
Yeah.
Because they became parents.
Okay.
So...
I still don't get it.
Oh.
But okay, keep going.
Okay, special. Anyways, nothing particularly funny but work related. So like, it was just like a little inside joke before they released it, because that wasn't the final cut.
Yeah, because
they watch it
why
and
would
they
they put that up there when they're going to be showing it to a bunch of children?
It's like a rough draft. You show it before you make the final draft.
Yeah, you kind of just having fun, I guess.
Yeah. So when we saw the title card, Squidward's suicide, we didn't think it more like than just a morbid joke. One of the interns did like a small laugh. The happy-go-lucky music plays as normal. The story began with Squidward practicing his clarinet, hitting a few sour notes. Like normal, we hear SpongeBob laughing outside and Squidward stops, yelling at him to keep it down as he has a concert that night and needs to practice. So SpongeBob says okay and goes to see Sandy with Patrick. The bubble splash screen comes up and we see the ending of Squidward's concert. This is when things began to seem off. While playing, a few frames repeated themselves, but the sound doesn't... Well, at that point, the sound wasn't synced up with the animation, but back then it wasn't that common. It wasn't not common.
Okay.
Because animation kind of sucked.
Yeah. And then they still had editing to do, right?
Yeah. So, like, it was like a repeated frame. The sound
didn't line up.
Okay. But when he stopped playing, the sounds finished as if the skip had never happened.
What?
I don't even... Let me reread this.
Okay.
I'm confusing myself. At this point, the sound is synced up with the animation, so that wasn't not common. A few frames repeated themselves, but the sound does...
What?
Am I dyslexic?
Maybe. Can you imagine how sad it is? He barely realized that now after he finished school.
Stop. I'm trying.
Okay.
Hold up. This is sad. I'm sorry. So technically, the frame was repeating, but the sound just kept on going.
Okay.
You kind of you understand?
Yeah, I get it. The sound. Yeah, the sound kept going and the frame just kept going repeat.
So, like,
yeah, basically what you said.
It was just stuck in a repeat, but like the audio just continued like to the next frame that's supposed to match up with. But you get it. Anyways,
yeah, I get it.
There is a slight murmuring in the crowd.
Like in the animated crowd or the real crowd?
The animated crowd.
Animated crowd?
Yeah.
Like, so, the one in the cartoon?
Yeah. Do you remember the episode where he went to the concert? Or he was in a concert?
I think so.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
So the sound stopped and like the animation continued rolling as normal. After that happened, there was a slight murmuring in the crowd, like in the audio, and the crowd before that or after that they began to boo him. Not a normal cartoon booing that is common in the shows, but you could very clearly hear the malice in it. Squidward's in full frame looks visibly afraid. The shot goes to the crowd with SpongeBob in center frame, and he too is booing, very much unlike him.
SpongeBob loves Squidward.
I know.
That one scene where he's like, "You said Squidward twice."
I like Squidward.
And SpongeBob says, "I like Squidward." Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Which was very much unlike him. That isn't the odd thing, though. What is odd is that everybody had hyper-realistic eyes. They were very detailed. Clearly not shot of real people, like not shots of real people's eyes. But they're like more kind of like they're not real eyes, but they looked more than just like CGI. Kind of like the Uncanny Valley. Have you heard of that? Uncanny Valley? Have you never heard of that?
No.
So Uncanny Valley is kind of it started off with the Polar Express. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
With the kids on the train.
Yeah.
So little kids, like real life kids, they started like when they would like see the movie, they began to cry like in fear, and it's because supposedly that the characters, they looked too real, but they didn't look human. That's what the Uncanny Valley is.
Oh.
People naturally fear things that look human, but we can tell that they aren't human.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but like I said, it's natural. So I'm wondering, like, what in our history, like back when we were like developing to now, what in our history made us develop that fear?
Oh, I think I saw something in TikTok about that.
Yeah, that's where
we must have had some sort of natural enemy that looked like us but was not.
That's why
really human.
That makes me scared.
That would like I guess either kill us or attack us, and then
yeah,
that's why we kind of just stuck with that instinct. So that's why whenever we see something, kind of look human,
but it's not human,
then then you freak out.
That's why people are like heavily scared of mannequins or like what's it called? Yeah, like those kind of like cartoons that are CGI.
Yeah,
because of that. The Uncanny Valley.
Okay.
I'm afraid of that too, actually. It's horrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not scared or creeped out by mannequins.
I kind of am.
When I'm walking by. No, I don't, because I just see them as mannequins, because I know they're mannequins.
Well, if they have like a face. I don't mind the mannequins that are just like, in a opaque color all over.
Like the white ones that are just there,
or like
in one position.
But the ones that are like look realistic, that have a face on it, I hate those.
Can you imagine going into that like wax figure museum?
Oh no, I can't. In Seattle?
Is it in Seattle or is it in LA?
I have no idea actually.
Oh, it's pretty interesting to go.
I thought it was in Seattle. But
imagine how weird that would be just going in there. And knowing especially now that you don't like it, we have to go now.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
I'll probably have like a nervous breakdown, honestly. You know me and my nervous breakdowns. But anyways, the pupils were red. Some of us looked at each other, obviously confused, but since we weren't the writers, we didn't question its appeal to children yet. The shot goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed later on, looking very forlorn, or like very like depressed.
Very down.
Very down, yes. The view out of his porthole window is of the night sky, so it isn't very long after the concert. The unsettling part is, at this point, there is no sound. Literally no sound. Not even the feedback from the speakers in the room. It's as if the speakers were turned off, though their status showed them working perfectly. He just sat there, blinking in this silence for 30 seconds. Then he started to sob softly. He put his tentacles over his eyes and cried quietly for a full minute or more. All the while, a sound in the background very slowly growing from nothing to barely audible. It sounded like the slight breeze through a forest, like the wind going through trees.
Yeah.
Oof. Any commentary on that? Before I continue, I see the look in your face.
It's just sad.
It's
Sad thinking about Squidward because nothing ever went his way. Like he works in a fast food place that he probably doesn't want to work in. He wants his dream is to be a composer in order to like play music
yeah.
professionally,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't or he doesn't. Obviously, he's not good in his clarinet,
Mm-hmm.
or else he would have been He would have been like professional like clarinet player a long time ago. But instead he's stuck in his house with next to two neighbors he doesn't like, and whenever he tries to play, he either gets interrupted by them, and he has to go to work, and then it's like work, and then your home life, and if your home life isn't good, so I can see why he's depressed. And then if he ever did have that like chance to go and play like if playing like live and people boo him, like that would break me. If you work so hard for something your whole life and then you just get teared to shreds, like you get shredded by the audience, like I would be really upset. Because first of all, it's really hard to go out there in front of an audience and perform or do anything or talk. Presentations, I would hate presentations at school.
Me too. I know.
I hate it now to this day.
To this day, I can't talk to a group of people.
Yeah, to a group of people, yes.
Not even one person alone. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a hard time, like, and then I feel like my heartbeat speed up, and I feel like my adrenaline goes, and it's just like, and even if I say like one or two words in front of a group of people, I feel like, oh my gosh, like that was the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
Imagine having that and having everybody boo you. Oh my gosh, and then him just going back to his home where he has all these bad memories and just thinking how awful life is. I sympathize with poor Squidward.
Me too. Like you said, like when you were younger, you didn't really like Squidward, but now, as I got older, I'm like, dang, Squidward is so relatable. Like I'm Squidward.
Like
I'm not even that old, but I feel like Squidward.
You feel like a Squidward already?
I feel like a Squidward already, and that's sad.
Girl,
I'm not young anymore.
Too young to be thinking that. I didn't think I was Squidward until like 3-4 years ago when I was like,
he's so relatable. And he's funny. I get most of my humor now from SpongeBob. And Chowder.
Yeah.
And regular show.
I love to quote SpongeBob.
Me too. And the other shows that I mentioned.
Yeah. Then I get upset when nobody understands my quotes.
Me too. Like random people. Like, how can you not have watched SpongeBob?
Not even random people, my friends. Like some of my friends, my close friends, I'm quoting and they're all like, what? I'm like, how can you not?
Those aren't friends.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Martha's my friend.
They don't know SpongeBob.
This is my friend Angie.
But who hasn't watched SpongeBob? That's like a staple show.
Yeah, but it's because she mostly likes like anime and like Asian shows.
Me too, but like.
But she never watched SpongeBob, I guess.
I love SpongeBob.
She's too cool for SpongeBob.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
No, I'm kidding. I love Martha.
Okay, keep going.
No, but anyways, the screen slowly begins to zoom in on his face. By slow, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at the shots 10 seconds apart, side by side. His sobbings get louder, more full of hurt and anger. The screen then twitches a bit, as if it twists in on itself for a split second, then back to normal. The wind through the tree sounds get slowly louder but more severe, as if a storm is brewing somewhere. The eerie part is the sound and Squidward's sobbing. It sounded too real, as if the sound wasn't coming from the speakers, but as if the speakers were the hole the sound was coming through from the other side. As good as sound as the studio has, they didn't purchase equipment to be that good. So it was kind of scary to realistic.
Okay.
Below the sound of the wind and sobbing, very faintly, something sounded like laughing.
SpongeBob's laugh. Can you imagine
Probably.
SpongeBob's laugh? And that, I would be so mad.
But like, oh my god, like from what I'm seeing in my head, from what you're seeing, it's different. That's I'm like, ew. It makes me want to vomit.
Okay, go.
Okay. It came at odd intervals and never lasted more than a second, so you had a hard time pinning it. After 30 seconds of this, the screen blurred and twitched violently, and something flashed over the screen, as if the single frame was replaced. The lead animator, or the lead animation editor, paused and rerun the frame. What we saw was horrible. By the way, there was like a pretty like a handful of gore, but I cut that out.
Okay.
So I just put like the basic details. So from what we saw was horrible. It was a still photo of a dead child. He could have been more than 6 years old. The face was mangled and bloody, and he was naked down to his underpants as he laid on some pavement that was probably a road. The most upsetting part was that there was a shadow of a photographer. There was no crime tape, no evidence tags, or markers, and the angles were completely off for a shot designed to be evidence. It would seem the photographer was the person responsible for the child's death. We were, of course, mortified, but pressed on, hoping that it was just a sick joke.
Oh my gosh! And this came from the editors themselves, or where did this footage come from?
Supposedly, nobody
Did it just show up one day?
Because it's
on someone's desk?
No, it's like multiple people working on the whole episode, so they couldn't really pinpoint who
did what.
Yeah. But the screen flipped back to Squidward, still sobbing, but louder than before, and half body in the frame. There was now what appeared to be blood running down his face from his eyes. The blood was also done in a hyper-realistic style, looking as if you touched it, you'd get blood on your fingers. The wind sounds now as if it were that of a gale blowing through the forest. There were even snapping sounds of branches. The laughing, which was a deep baritone, lasting at longer intervals, coming more frequently. After about 20 seconds, the screen again twisted and showed a single frame photo. The editor was reluctant to go back. We all were, but he knew he had to. This time the photo was that of what appeared to be a little girl, no older than the first child. She was laying on her stomach, her barrettes in a pool of blood next to her. Little barrettes, like the hair clips?
Yeah.
She was naked as well, except for her underpants. And again, the body was on the streets, and the photographer's shadow was visible. Very, very similar in size and shape to the shadow. I had to choke back vomit, and when in turn, the only female in the room ran out. The show resumed. About 5 seconds after this second photo played, Squidward went silent, as did all the sound, like it was when the scene started. He put his tentacles down, and his eyes were now done in a hyper-realism like the others were in the beginning of this episode. Like the fish.
Yeah.
Booing, yeah. They were bleeding, bloodshot, and pulsating. He just stared at the screen as if he was watching the viewer. After about 10 seconds, he started sobbing, this time not covering his eyes. The sound was piercing and loud, and most fear-inducing of all is his sobbings were mixed with screams.
Like his screams or his screams?
I'm assuming his screams, yes, because it's just him right now. Tears and blood were dripping down his face at a heavy rate. The wind sound came back, and so did the deep voice laughing. And this time, the still photo lasted for a good 5 frames. The animator was able to stop it on the 4th and backed up. This time the photo was of a boy, about the same age, but this time the scene was different, which now depicted a hand of a grown man messing around with the corpse.
Oh.
The animator proceeded again. It was hard to believe, but the next one was different, but we couldn't tell what. He went on to the next. Same thing. He went back to the first and played them quicker, and I lost it. I vomited on the floor, the animating and sound editors gasping at the screen. The 5 frames were not as if they were 5 different photos. They were played as if they were frames from a video. We saw the hand slowly lift out from the screen.
Yeah.
As we saw the kid's face focus on it. We can even see the kid blinking in 2 frames.
Oh wow, okay. That's heavy, that's a lot.
And remember, I cut out the gore, most of it, so I'm like, this is a child. Like I said before, I don't really like kids, but this is upsetting because it's a child.
Yeah.
It's such an innocent little thing.
Yeah, they probably don't even know why it's happening to them.
Oh, yeah.
They don't understand. Especially when they're that little, like they don't understand what's going on.
Oh, it's a little sad. Anyway, the lead sound editor told us to stop. He had to call the creator of SpongeBob, Mr. Hillenberg, who arrived within about 15 minutes. He was confused as to why he was called down there, so the editor just continued the episode. Once the few frames were shown, all screaming, all sounds again stopped. Squidward was just staring at the viewer, full frame of the face, for about 3 seconds. The shot quickly panned out, and that deep voice, the deep voice that was laughing earlier, said, "Do it." And we see, in Squidward's hands, a shotgun. He immediately puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. The last 5 seconds of this episode show his body on the bed, then the episode ends. Mr. Hillenberg is obviously angry at this. He demands to know what was going on, but by that time most people left the room at this point. So it was just a handful of the rest of the people watching it.
Yeah.
So they had to view the episode like twice.
Oh, second time?
Yeah,
so like the creator can see it?
Yeah. So they had to view it twice, which left an imprint for the entirety of their mind, which caused horrible nightmares. And I'm sorry I stayed. The only theory we could think of was the file was edited by someone in the chain from the drawing studio in here. The CTO was called in to analyze when it happened. The analysis of the file did show that it was edited over by new material. However, the timestamp of it was a mere 24 seconds before we began viewing it. All equipment involved was examined for foreign software and hardware as well as glitches, as if the timestamp may have glitched and showed the wrong time, but everything checked out fine. We don't know what happened, and to this day nobody knows. There was an investigation due to the nature of the photos, but nothing came out. No child scene was identified, and no clues were gathered from the data involved, nor physical clues in the photos. I never believed in unexplainable phenomena before, but now that I have something happen to me and I can't prove anything about it beyond anecdotal evidence, I think twice about things every day. That's it.
Wow, that's heavy. That's awful. That's a lot.
Guess how old I was when I learned about this?
Like 10?
Yeah.
Of course.
So, of course, I was traumatized.
Girl, I would be too at 10. I was still watching SpongeBob.
Me too. I still watch SpongeBob to this day.
To this day.
To this day. No, but because, you know, like, because of the creepypasta, there's, like, fan-made videos.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, but from what I've seen on YouTube, they don't involve the kids.
Oh,
thankfully.
Yeah.
It's just, like, more like the concert, and then it blurs to Squidward and his room, and then it just gets straight to the
ending.
Yeah, but it doesn't really show, like, him committing suicide.
Committing crime? Okay.
Yeah. It's fan-made, but it's still pretty scary. I'll show you after.
Okay.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on this?
Wow. This was a very morbid episode. A very morbid story.
It would have been more morbid if I left in the details, but...
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing you didn't, because I feel like it was very interesting to hear, because, I mean, this is a childhood cartoon that I would always watch.
Yep. Me too.
Like, all the time. I used to love it when he would come up, and I would just watch the episodes, and yeah, you know, it's just a lot. And it's really, really, really weird that nobody knew where those pictures came from, or they even got hacked. Like, that would have been so scary if they got hacked, because imagine if a hacker had access to all their files.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't investigate anything on against that. Like, they were just checking to see where the file came from, through what computer, to see who did it, right?
Yeah, because from what I'm assuming, you can only edit it there. I don't think you can take work home.
Yeah.
Maybe, or unless maybe, like, somebody took the file and brought it home and edited it on their own software.
Yeah.
And then brought it back. That's why they couldn't really detect anything in their building that was off.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So then that, like, laughing voice, like, that must have just been in his head, huh?
Probably.
Yeah, it was just in his head. So that's why at the end when it just said "do it,"
Yeah.
It was like his, like, conscious, no? His, like, subconscious. Or that voice in your head you hear, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I hear that too. In TikTok, did you see that people don't hear voices in their head sometimes? Or, like, a voice, their main voice?
I hear voice, like, well...
I mean, no,
No, I mean, like, let's say, like,
just
I'm
your
reading,
one voice.
If I'm thinking in my head, I can hear a voice.
Well, yeah, it's your voice.
Or, like, if I'm reading in my head.
It's your inner self. That's what they say.
Sometimes it's not my voice. Sometimes it's just a random man or something. Like...
Maybe it's just your voice having fun with you, Angie.
Now that I think of a British person. You know the episode of the regular show where they got chased by a British taxi? Oh. No. Well, anyways. It's a British man.
Okay.
Or an Indian man. Like my Siri.
Okay.
I'm fun.
You're fun.
I'm funny too.
Really.
Anyways, continue.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's just... that was a lot. That was a lot.
Pretty
Wow.
traumatizing.
Yeah, I can see that, like, if it was, like maybe, like, that was, like, a dream or something, because SpongeBob booing Squidward, I don't think SpongeBob would ever boo Squidward. SpongeBob loves Squidward, like,
He does.
he, like,
surprisingly.
idolizes him.
I know. He's like,
So
oh my
it's
god,
like-
best friend.
Yeah, he thinks he's, like, fun, even though he's not fun.
Well, thank God this is fictional.
Yes, because that's
But-
so weird.
No matter how messed up it is, I still admit that it was pretty well written, even though I kept on messing up myself. But if you look at the original story word by word, it's pretty well written.
Okay.
Even
Yeah.
the explanation of gore is kind of.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said do people make fan fiction of this particular episode or no?
Sometimes people do make certain like fan fiction.
Yeah.
And by that I mean like they like either add on or just do like the same story, but like maybe more plot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, people do make like fan art and fan made videos,
Yeah,
which
I can
is
do
pretty
that.
talented, but oof,
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would take somebody with a strong stomach to be to listen to all that again, and actually like, draw it out, you know,
Mhm.
and like bring it to life. 'Cause that was a lot,
That was a lot.
to handle, a lot of baggage to handle. Angie, I see why you were such a weird child.
You
No.
see me now?
I see why you were
We
a
see
little
each
weird.
other. We good?
I understand why you were a little weird, Angie.
I would have when I was a child. Remember when I would have nightmares?
Yeah.
That's what I would have nightmares about.
Wow,
All of
Angie,
this.
that's all you though. You did that to yourself.
Well, I didn't know. I was like I was a child. No.
A child.
No. There are more lost episodes to other cartoons, but that's for next time.
Yeah, right. Because I think I've heard for the one for Ed and Eddie,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of like in a purgatory, right?
Mhm.
Is
But,
that
like,
one?
Yeah. Or wait, that one I don't really remember. I think that's either that is a creepypasta or that's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay. So okay.
Cause I think that's a conspiracy theory. Cause last episode is like when an episode didn't air because it was like too weird to be shown.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
Wow. So do you still think that they have that footage somewhere, just hidden, or do you think that they destroyed it? Or I mean, it has evidence of some possible murder or child trafficking.
In the like if I was in the story, cause this is fiction. Remember that, Erica?
Girl, I was over here thinking it was real. You make it sound like it's so real.
No,
Okay.
I told you in the beginning, not the beginning. In the beginning.
In the beginning.
I told you like a little bit
Okay.
earlier that it's
All right.
fictional.
All right, I'm glad.
But let's say if I was if it was real, I'd be pretty terrified. And I know well that hackers could get their hands on that file most likely, and probably sell it.
Release it
Yeah, release it or sell it.
to the public.
There are a lot of weirdos that would, like sickos that would like to watch it just because of the children, or they just have like a weird sense of like humor.
And you. That's you.
That's not me. That's not
you.
I don't like children.
You don't like children?
No, not in that way. Jesus, Erica, don't you ever? No, but I wouldn't pay for that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Mm-mm.
No. First of all, I don't got enough money paying for that.
Yeah, exactly. Second of all, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Then,
Ooh. Okay, then I think that's it for today, right, Angie?
mm-hmm. That is.
Okay, then. Just wanted to say appreciate those of you who are listening, and that joined us today. Hope you all enjoyed this creepypasta. I swear, sometimes these are like so realistic, like, because then I'm over here thinking that they're real.
They're so well written. Even though like I mess up in the story because I can't really read. I'm a little illiterate.
Shows.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, I just stumble over my words a lot. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really well written. I enjoyed them. I hope everybody's enjoying them too. So we do have an Instagram page and a Twitter page as well,
Twitter.
right? Yeah,
We do
so
have
I
a
mean,
Facebook page now.
we made a Facebook page, yes. So Fester Thoughts, just try to search that up. See if you can find us.
We are now on
Yes, we are now.
Amazon Music and Audible. Yeah.
I think we might also be in Pandora. Pandora
probably.
and
We have to check.
Stitcher. Yeah, we have to check.
we have to
That
check.
was per special request, and I was
I saw
like,
that.
I got you.
From your friend.
I'll do that. Yes. So, so we might have those on. I have to double check. I haven't checked that because I don't have Pandora or Stitcher, so I'll have to check to see if it is up or not. We are working on getting it up on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're also working on...
We do have the first episode that we ever made on YouTube, but yes, we're working on getting the rest.
The second and third episode, and
Mm-hmm.
for future episodes to make it a little easier to upload there. And we are also working on trying to get into Apple Music.
Mm-hmm.
We will let you guys know. But that's it for today. We'll be back next Wednesday for a new episode.
Before we say bye, I just want to talk to the people that said that I was screaming in their ear last time. I hope you enjoyed this episode where I was more calm. And next time, say it to my face.
Stop.
No, I'm kidding. But thank you for the feedback. I think that was pretty loud. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
See you all next week. Have a good Wednesday. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.